Mom. You have no idea what I put this woman through. If you had just given birth to me, that would have been more than enough. But the fact that she raised me and raised me well, we had a real oral tradition in our house. I knew the word griot when I was a little boy. A griot was a person in Africa who's charged with keeping the stories of the village. Everyone would tell a griot the stories and they would remember them all so that they could tell future generations. And when they got old, they'd tell them to someone else. And they say in Africa, when a griot dies, it's like a library was burnt down. And my mother used to tell me, before I ever thought about doing comedy, she said, you should be a griot. And she'd fill me with every story of black life. You know, she's educated in African-American studies, and she would let me understand the context that I was being raised in, that I'm being raised in a hostile environment that I have to tame. By the time I was 14 years old, I was in nightclubs, mastering an adult world. It was terrifying. The crack epidemic was going on, and my mother would hear gunshots outside and be scared to death. Maybe it's my son. But early in my career, if you remember, Mom, you used to sit in the club with me. She'd do a full day of work. You'd be back there falling asleep, just waiting for me to go on. She would watch my show every night. Do you know how long that car ride is home? How many of you have ever heard your mother say, pussy jokes were a little too much tonight, son? I was a soft kid. I was sensitive, I'd cry easy, and I would be scared to fist fight. And my mother used to tell me this thing, I don't even know if you remember, but you said this to me more than once. You said, son, sometimes you have to be a lion so you can be the lamb you really are.
What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, they are trying to kill me?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy, they're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick.
I gotta tell you something, and I don't talk about it often. Have you ever worked all your life for something and have it not work out? That happened to me. It was tough. Think about it. I was gone for 12 years. It's not a little bit of time. It was hell. I watched other niggas that I knew become very famous. I watched the world go on without me. I mourned the loss of it, and after a while, I didn't care. Coming back was terrifying. I understand what I am. I really do, more than anybody. Like when they write about me in history, I'll be dead reading it like, yeah, I knew they'd say that. I swear to God, this might be the noblest of professions. Robin Williams had a bar that I loved. He said, comedy is the only job you can have where you can use everything you know. And that's true. You can use more than you know. You can use what you think. Use it. Don't be afraid. Don't let these bitch-ass niggas button your lip.
I watched one of these nature shows one time, and they were talking about how a bushman finds water when it's scarce. And they do what's called a salt trap. I didn't know this. Apparently baboons love salt.
Okay.
So they put a lump of salt in a hole, and they wait for the baboon. The baboon comes, sticks his hand in the hole, grabs the salt makes his hand bigger, and he's trapped. He can't get his hand out. Now, if he's smart, all he does is let go of the salt. Baboon doesn't want to let go of the salt. Then the bushman just comes, takes the baboon, throws him in the cage, and gives him all the salt he wants. And then the baboon gets thirsty. The bushman lets him out the cage. The first place the baboon runs to is water. The bushman follows him, and they both drink to their fill. And in that analogy, I felt like the baboon.
but I was smart enough to let go.
I think that America needs an honest discourse with itself. It's like the greatest country in the world by default. You know what I mean? But we could actually be the greatest country that ever existed if we were just honest about who we are and what we are and where we want to go, and if we learn how to have that discourse. Things like racism are institutionalized. It's systemic. You might not know any bigots. You feel like, well, I don't hate black people, so I'm not a racist. But you benefit from racism just by merit of the color of your skin. There's opportunities that you have. You're privileged in ways that you may not even realize because you haven't been deprived in certain ways. We need to talk about these things in order for them to change. I do the show. I walk down the street, black people like it, white people, the generations, it doesn't matter, because it needs to be talked about. It's like the elephant in the living room that nobody says anything about. So when the Bigsby thing came out, there was a lady from Texas that called Comedy Central, I mean, damn near 100 times. She was furious with me. I wasn't mad at her for being mad at me. It's like, okay, that's good, you know. Not good that she's mad at me, but she's entitled to her opinion. And maybe she's right. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. That's what I did. I'm a comedian, man. That's how I look at the world, and that's what I'm spitting out. So I don't judge people or not like people for thinking. People that I love tell me I go too far sometimes. Maybe I went too far, but I did it. You know. And plus, the only way you know where the line is to cross it. And I think that what is life if nobody's crossing the line? You just want to try to be on the right side of history, and sometimes what's going on in the immediate present is not as important as the long term. The truth is permanent, and then everything else falls by the wayside.
I want to say one thing today just made me think about. For all the things that I've done, I'm most renowned for what I didn't do. I've made decisions in my career that a lot of people have called insane. 2004, had a $50 million deal on the table, and in a crisis of conscience, flipped the table over and walked away. Went to South Africa. Everyone said I was running away from the money. That is not true. In fact, I still want that money. The idea that I wanted to just share with you guys is the idea that sometimes you do what you think is best, whether anybody understands it or not. I heard a story about my father where someone told me he used to do statistics for a company in D.C. The company he did statistics for started doing business with the South African government, so he quit his job. It's caused a lot of problems between him and his wife. It's hard for a man when he can't provide for his family the way he wants to, and he suffered through it. And a generation later, when I had my crisis of conscience, I was able to go to a free South Africa and get away from the heat. This idea that what you do in your lifetime informs the generations that comes after you is something I keep thinking about, something that is so much bigger than just ourselves. And today I'm standing in front of you guys, and I know you guys are like, oh, I know you're bored. But I see family of mine in the front row some who I've never met, and I just realize how all of us are connected. That my great-grandfather built something more substantial than buildings. He built a community, and he built, more importantly than a community, he built a way. You know, so I'm very grateful. Very grateful. Hello, police. I just saw him saying, you know what I mean? He's standing over like, so this is what black people talk about. I just want you guys to remember, you know, that right now there's this thing where ethics aren't what they used to be. This idea that people are trying to replace the ideas of good and bad with better or worse. And that is incorrect. You gotta keep your ethics intact because good and bad is a compass that helps you find the way. And a person that only does what's better or worse is the easiest type of person to control. They are a mouse in a maze that just finds the cheese. But the one who knows about good and bad will realize that he's in a maze. So, that being said, I just hope that all of you guys transcend whatever you see as your obstacles and that you live outstanding lives and that you stay connected to your communities because you have so much power there, and that you grow your communities and you diversify your communities, and that you don't let anybody tell you you can't or to be afraid. It's okay to be afraid because you can't be brave or courageous without fear. The idea of being courageous is that even though you're scared, you just do the right thing anyway. So in 2004, I walked away from $50 million, and in November, I made a deal for $60 million. So, although I am not the most famous comedian of my time, I would like to know what their great-grandfathers did. I'm very proud today. Thank you very much. My wife's friend, Stuart, told me that. My wife has a lot of gay friends. Stuart's their leader. She has a lot of gay friends. And I don't like them. Not because they're gay, I'm just judging them on the merits of their character. They're just not nice dudes. They're rude house guests. They're sitting on my couch, giggling with my wife, eating my macaroons. And I come in, they act like the party's over. Hey, Stuart, what's going on? This guy talks to me the way a cat would speak if a cat could talk. Hi, David. He always wants to have some kind of gay political argument. The last one was about a petition in federal court to take the words husband and wife out of the law. I said, well, why would you want those words out the law? He said, because it discriminates against same-sex couples. I was like, niggas, please save me the semantics. Just trust me, take your chips and get the fuck out of the casino. You're about to crap out. Go outside, talk that over amongst yourselves, and whichever one of you is gayer, that's the wife. I've never seen somebody in the office so high with the most just basic fucking solutions. We should not let any more Muslims in the country till we can figure out what's going on. Did he just say, figure out what's going on? Who doesn't know how to do basic math? Let's count it out. There's been 17 mass shootings in the United States. 4 of them were done by Muslims. None of those 4 Muslims were from any of the 7 countries in your stupid ass original band. The other 13 shootings were done by the Tiki Torch whites. And you don't see me trying to ban white people from the show to keep the rest of the audience safe. It's a fucking terrible idea because it's mean and it's racist. And most importantly, if there were no white people here tonight, I might leave this bitch with $1,800. This man needs to realize that we all need each other. And that's why we will never, ever be able to beat China. Because everybody in America is racist and everybody in China is Chinese. This guy, R. Kelly, got another sex tape out now. This guy makes more sex tapes than he does music. He's like the DJ Khaled of sex tapes. Another one. Like, damn. The new one's so bad that they didn't even show it. 16 times the girl's age was mentioned. Isn't that crazy? This motherfucker's an idiot. He was fucking her like, yeah, this is the best 14-year-old pussy I've ever had in my life. And she was like, you like this 14-year-old pussy? He's like, oh yeah, I love this 14. I'm like, man, you need to shut the fuck up. You gotta give your lawyer something to work with. You're supposed to be on the tape like, this is the best 36-year-old pussy I've ever had in my life. And then your lawyer gonna be like, Your Honor, clearly my client thought that this woman was 36. As he mentioned some 16 times in the tape. They gonna know you lying though, you know what I mean? Everybody knows no such thing as good 36-year-old pussy. It is wild, bro. Where you from, man? Where you from? New York. You from, what, Manhattan? Brooklyn. You are from Brooklyn, aren't you? You look like you can rob somebody with a hammer. Brooklyn niggas rob you with shit they find around the house. I just got stabbed with a toothbrush. This nigga must be from Brooklyn. I'm fucking around. I think, okay, again, of all those letters, the T has the toughest road ahead. In fact, I think the T should stand for tough road ahead. They've got the longest mental gap to bridge. That's all I'm saying. Because, you know, whenever I see one of them T's on the street, I don't mind them, but I'll be like, man, I miss Bruce. I'm sorry, guys. I'm 42. I remember Bruce Jenner. Before the Kardashians, before all that, this motherfucker was a white American superhero. It was amazing. He was beating Africans at track and field. We'd never seen anything like it. He was on my cereal box growing up. You know how much of that cereal I ate, nigga? I didn't know he was gonna do that. I knew before you guys knew. I heard things on the street in Hollywood. You know, you just be out, see people. Hey, what's up, Kanye? Why the long face? Nigga, you'll see. I got 2 mother-in-laws now. There was a big dance coming up in the middle school. I was 12 years old. I said, Dad, can I go to the dance? He said, of course you can go to the dance. I want you to get out and meet some more kids. I said, great. It costs $3 to get in. And my dad said, ooh, sorry, son, I don't have it. I was like, what the fuck? You don't have $3? Well, then how are we alive, Dad? Dad said, if you want to go to the dance bad enough, I'll tell you what, there's some money in the change jar, get the money from there. I was 12 years old. That's what I did. I showed up to the dance early. There's a long line of kids waiting behind me while I'm at the door trying to count out 300 pennies to get inside. I will never forget this shit as long as I fucking live. Oh, man, you know, if you've been poor, you know what that feels like. You ashamed all the time. Feels like it's your fault. And all them kids was laughing, ha, ha, ha. Look how poor Dave Chappelle is. Like, when I think back at it, that's really the only time in my life that I ever thought to myself, I should kill everybody at school. No, this is what I mean. Okay, look, okay, you're an Asian dude. No, I say this with no disrespect, but we're all Americans, right? And we can agree that America has a huge body count all over the world, but nowhere more than Asia. Literally, if you look at history, recently, we have bombed the masculinity out of an entire continent. We dropped 2 atomic bombs on fucking Japan, and they've been drawing Hello Kitty and shit ever since. There's a lot of lady boys in the wake of our bombs, and I know these things because my wife is Asian. She's Filipino. All right, well, okay, so that explains it. Now you know why you see me at all those Filipino events. I'm not there picking up pussy, I'm dropping some off. I take my wife to all that shit. I took my wife to see Pacquiao fight Mayweather. We sat ringside, okay? That was a quiet car ride home. That's what that was.
That's my problem. I can't handle pressure. Sometimes pressure make me talk different. I'm serious. You ever have like that social pressure? You ever talk to somebody who's fake and they make you fake? Like that kind of deal, like, hey, how you doing? You're like, fine, how are you? And you're like, I don't even talk like that. I get sick of that shit. I do. It just makes me sick. Sometimes I'll talk crazy just to make myself feel better. You ever do that? Just start talking like crazy. Like, you ever hear this voice? Man. That's how bad guys used to talk in the 40s. In the old days. See, I talk like that. Not all the time, but if somebody put the pressure on me, fuck it, I gotta cut loose. Maybe the police pull me over, I'll talk crazy. Son, do you know why we pulled you over? Nah, because I'm black, see, that's right. Nah. It's not illegal to talk like that. How do they know I don't talk like that every day? Stop talking like that. Stop talking like white copper. Nah.
I see my age in my children. I came home from the road. This is not long ago. I've been gone for, if you can picture, I was gone for weeks and weeks. And when I came back, nobody was home. Now, one person in my family thought that maybe I'd like to see them when I got back. Like, they knew when I was coming back, but they just weren't home. And that shit was a wake-up call. But an empty house, that's some cold shit. And I went into my oldest son's room. I was like, hello, hello. He was gone. And I'd never done this to him before, but for some reason I just did it. I just looked through his shit. Just to see who this motherfucker was becoming. And I found these notebooks and I started going through the notebooks and it was all this wonderful poetry in them. And then I looked through his drawers and I opened up his middle drawer and I found this rolling paper. And I looked down at them papers like, oh, that's where that poetry's coming from. I'm doing a show somewhere, and I'm on stage, and I was a little drunk, you know. I figured to be safe, because, you know, everybody's phones are locked up. And I went in on this kid. I was talking all kinds of shit. Now, I didn't know that there was a journalist in the audience. Took impeccable notes. He told everybody everything I said. He was even putting the jokes in the headline. The headline said, Dave Chappelle says he wants to smash a dollhouse over Juicy Smouillet's head. And I thought for sure when I read that headline, I said, well, that's it for me. I'm canceled. Lucky for me, that very same day, the Chicago police caught the motherfucker that actually did it. And hilariously, they were both Nigerian. Not only were they not white, they were very, very black. There's a trans woman sitting in the audience. This is a true story. This was like a few weeks ago. I did 6 shows that weekend. This trans woman came to 4 of them. Calls herself Daphne. Man, this chick Daphne was in there cracking the fuck up at everything I said about everybody. It was amazing. She was laughing, and it was fun to watch her laugh. You could tell she was letting go with something that was heavy, and she'd throw her head back, and she'd smile with all her teeth. She was having a great time. And the more fun she had, I felt bad, because I knew I had some trans jokes to unload. And I thought to myself, maybe I shouldn't say these jokes because I don't want to like fuck her evening up. She's having so much fun. But then I thought to myself, well, if I can't say it in front of her, should I say this shit at all? So I let her rip. And to my surprise, Daphne laughed harder at the trans jokes than anybody in the room. In fact, everybody in the room would look at her to make sure it was okay. And I got off stage, I was in the dressing room, I was like, man, it's a fucking weird show. I'm sitting in the dressing room by myself just trying to figure out, like, what the fuck just happened out there? Like, why is it that this one woman can't take any of these jokes and Daphne can take all of these jokes? So weird. And then I realized, Daphne used to be a man. So now I go out of the dressing room and like you can see like all the staff was there like cleaning the club up, the audience had gone, and sitting at the bar by herself was Daphne. And she's like, hey, Dave, come join me for a drink. And I don't want her to think that I'm transphobic or nothing, so I'm like, fuck, I guess I could have at least a drink. And we get some tequila and we're sitting there. And she was fucking cool. Turns out that Daphne, she wants to be a comedian. She was asking me for advice, and I told her advice and all that shit. And then she says to me, she says, boy, you sure do get a bad rap for your trans jokes. I said, Daphne, thank you, but you don't have to say that. I hope I didn't offend you. She goes, no. She said, in fact, I read about you in the New York Times. I said, you did? She said, yeah. She said, I thought it was interesting that they blamed you for R. Kelly. They said you normalized him for telling jokes about him. I go, yeah, they said that. She goes, I wonder why they never said that you normalized transgenders by telling jokes about us. And I'd never thought about that. It never occurred to me. And we started making out. And then like, I reached up just to see what it felt like. I was like, what? And it felt like pussy, did it? I was just like,
what you gonna do if Trump get reelected?
what am I gonna do if Trump gets reelected? Probably get a significant tax break. Hey, you wanna know why I don't even talk about Trump in my show? Because that motherfucker is not the hokey pokey. He is not what it's all about. There's millions of people that put him in power, and the ideas that he puts forth are not his own. He's singing poor white people's greatest hits. So why the fuck would I worry about him and not the other millions? Really, you know who I'm gonna vote for next time if things keep going the way it's going is that gay dude. No, Mike Pence. Now, this is the same club, the Punchline. This is 15 years ago, and I had just gotten back from my infamous South Africa trip. And I came to the Punchline just to cheer myself up. It's a safe place where I could tell some jokes. And I find out that this comedian I know, Chris Tucker, who's in all those Rush Hour movies, I find out that Chris is in San Francisco too, at some charity event. So I call him, I'm like, yo, I just saw you at some charity event. I said, I'm doing a show at the Punchline. Why don't you come by the club after your event? He's like, cool, Dave. I thought you was dead, nigga. I'll come by. He says, is it okay if I bring some friends? Because, you know, I'm with a lot of people. I go, man, you Chris Tucker. You can bring whoever the fuck you want. And then I show up to the club late that night. I walk into the dressing room, and sitting in the dressing room is Gavin Newsom, who at the time was the mayor of San Francisco, but now he's the governor of California. And sitting next to him was Kamala Harris, who at the time was the DA of San Francisco. Now she's the senator from California that's front-running on the Democratic ticket. And sitting next to her was Al Gore. It's fucking weird. And sitting next to Al Gore was the guys from Google, Sergey, and I don't know how to say these. All right. And it was Chris Tucker and Ben Jealous, who at the time was the president of the NAACP, who was all just at this big charity dinner, and Paul Mooney was drinking scotch. And we all was just in there. And, you know, at first I was a little uncomfortable when we started talking, and we all got along really well. At some point, Kamala Harris says to me, she goes, you know, a friend of mine is announcing his candidacy for president tomorrow. I went to college with him. I'm like, what I go, Barack Obama? She goes, you've heard of him? I'm like, yo, I just read about this dude. And she goes, yo, yeah, blah, 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 we talking. She goes, you know what? She says, let's call him on the phone. I said, what the fuck? And she picks the phone up and she dials and she's listening like this. And she goes, this is voicemail. And she gives me the phone. She goes, leave him a message. You know, I didn't know what to say. I just said what you say to any black dude that's running for president. You know, stay low, running a zigzag pattern, this kind of shit. And then the last thing I say is, you know what? I said, sir, I really do believe you can do this. Like, man, I'm wishing you luck. Now, next day I wake up and go for coffee at a place called the Embarcadero. It's like an eatery by the sea in San Francisco. And I'm walking to the coffee shop and there's a police line and I can't cross the tape. But then I figure, fuck it, I'm Dave Chappelle. So I go into the thing like this. And the police yoke me. These motherfuckers like tackle me immediately. And I see over the police's shoulder Gavin Newsom. I couldn't remember his name, but I remember the night before I had kept teasing him and saying he looked like Christian Bale, the guy from the Batman movies. So I see him and I can't remember the name, so I'm just like, Batman, help! And he stops, he's like, Dave? And then the police see that the mayor knows me, so they're all like, oh, sorry about that. And he's like, hey, back up, everybody. And he just picks me up. He's like, I'm really sorry about that. I'm like, I'm fine, don't worry about it. And he's like, listen, I'm here with Prince. Would you like to meet him? I'm like, I know Prince. That's my nigga. And we go around the corner, and it was Prince Charles, the Prince of England. I didn't know the protocol of meeting royalty. You're not supposed to touch him. I dapped him up like a nigga. My nigga. Ah! Just hugging him and shit like this, dapping him up. And that nigga was cool too. I was like, that's really fucking weird. And then I was just out there in the upside down, not having no TV show, trying to figure life out. And the election was going on in the background. And this guy, Barack Obama, was picking up steam. This motherfucker was killing it. And I had a chance to go to the last debate on the Democratic ticket, and I went. It's me and Chris Tucker sitting in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, It's the last three candidates. It was Barack Obama, John Edwards, and Hillary Clinton. Now, Obama's a lot taller than Edwards and Clinton, and he had the center podium. And at one point, they're all on stage, and they start fussing, and Obama goes, look, none of us are perfect, like this. And his hands was like this, and there was light shining behind his head, and the other two candidates was looking up at the nigga, and I was sitting in the audience like, this nigga looks like Jesus. And I realized in that moment that I was looking at the next president of the United States. I was certain of it. I couldn't explain it, but I knew what I was seeing. And I got really excited. And I'm not that kind of guy. I said, I gotta meet this motherfucker. So I stayed. They were all on stage doing interviews, and I just waited. I was waiting and waiting, and then John Edwards was done with his interviews first, because everybody knew he wasn't gonna win. And I see John Edwards, and I said, hey, Senator Edwards, I just want to say hi. And that motherfucker looked at me like, I'm like, fuck you, nigga, you gonna lose anyway. And then he left, and then Hillary Clinton just walked by me in one of them Steve Harvey suits. But Obama was taking forever. Everybody wanted to talk to him. When I knew the media saw exactly what I saw, there was no question about it. That was the guy. I waited and I waited, and finally, must have been over an hour and a half, he finishes his last interview. He's like, well, thank you very much. Good talking to you. And he turns around, and we make eye contact. He sees me, and when he sees me, he looks over, he goes, Dave Chappelle. And Obama did me the same way I did Prince Charles. He dapped me out, and he like bro hugged me, and he pulled me in, and I'll never forget this. He said in my ear, I got your message. Thank you very much, New York City. Good people of Atlanta, we must never forget that Anthony Bourdain killed himself. Anthony Bourdain had the greatest job that show business ever produced. This nigga flew around the world and ate delicious meals with outstanding people. That man, with that job, hung himself in a luxury suite in France. They say 2000 party over, oops, out of time. So tonight I'm gonna party like it's 1999. I knew a nigga in high school that was an urban genius. This motherfucker's grades were so good, he got all the way from the hood to an Ivy League school with a full scholarship. From there, the motherfucker got himself into one of the best law schools in the country. And when he was in law school, he met a woman, and they fell in love. And they were gonna get married. I remember him telling me about it. He was home for Christmas, and I told him, I said, my man, save that bitch for later in your life. But he's in love. He didn't listen to me. He married her while he was in law school. And sadly, they got divorced while he was in law school. He was a street nigga from the hood. This man had nothing. And that bitch took half of that. And then I just never saw him again for years. And then 2 years ago, I was home in D.C. doing some shopping, trying to buy my sons some socks at Foot Locker. I go to Foot Locker, guess who's the manager? That nigga. Dressed like a referee, the whole shit. This motherfucker is 45 years old. We went out drinking that night just trying to catch up, and he told me, he said he's been living with his mother for like 10 years, just trying to get back on his feet. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is, never occurred to this nigga to kill himself. He's alive and well in D.C. I even suggested to him that he should try it out. Like, I don't know, nigga, you might, Nobody's life is perfect. No matter what it looks like from the outside, you don't know what the fuck's going on inside. I have a great life, but it's not a perfect life. But it's good. My shit's like an above ground pool. You ever seen one of them? Yeah, it's a pool. So in that spirit, tonight, I thought I'd start my show a little differently. Tonight, I'm going to do something that I'm not particularly good at, but that I like to do. Tonight, I'm going to try some impressions out. I only got 2. All right, the first impression's kind of dumb, but I like it. This is my impression. You ready? This is my impression of the founding fathers of America when the Constitution was being written. You ready? Here it goes. Hurry up and finish that Constitution, nigger. I'm trying to get some sleep. It's not bad, right? All right, the next one. The next one's a little harder. I want to see if you can guess who it is I'm doing an impression of. All right, let me get into character. You got to guess who it is, though. Okay, here it goes. Hey, if you do anything wrong in your life, and I find out about it, I'm going to try to take everything away from you. And I don't care when I find out. Could be today, tomorrow, 15, 20 years from now. If I find out, you're fucking finished. Who's that? That's you. That's what the audience sounds like to me. That's why I don't be coming out doing comedy all the time, because y'all niggas is the worst motherfuckers I've ever tried to entertain in my fucking life. Oh. I'm goddamn sick of it. This is the worst time ever to be a celebrity. You're gonna be finished. Everyone's doomed. Michael Jackson has been dead for 10 years, and this nigga has 2 new cases. And if you haven't watched that documentary, then I'm begging you, don't watch it. It's fucking gross. I felt like HBO was sticking baby dicks in my ears for 4 hours straight. Really nasty shit. I don't want to know all these things. Turns out, Michael Jackson allegedly likes a long gander at the anus. So they said he stares at people's buttholes. That's what they said. That's how gross the documentary was. I'm gonna say something that I'm not allowed to say. But I gotta be real. I don't believe these motherfuckers. I do not believe it. But let me qualify the statement. I am what's known on the streets as a victim blamer. You know what I mean? If somebody come up to me like, Dave, Chris Brown just beat up Rihanna. I'll be like, well, what did she do? Dave, Michael Jackson was molesting children. Well, what were those kids wearing at the time? I don't think he did it. But you know what? Even if he did do it, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I mean, it's Michael Jackson. I know more than half the people in this room have been molested in their lives. But it wasn't no goddamn Michael Jackson, was it? This kid got his dick sucked by the king of pop. All we get is awkward Thanksgivings for the rest of our lives. You know how good it must have felt to go to school the next day after that shit? Hey, Billy, how was the weekend? How was my weekend? Michael Jackson sucked my dick. And that was my first sexual experience. If I'm starting here, then sky's the limit. I know it seems harsh, but man, somebody's got to teach these kids. There's no such thing as a free trip to Hawaii. He's gonna want to look at your butthole or something. You know why I don't believe it? You know why I don't believe it? Because if Michael Jackson's out here doing all this molesting, then why not Macaulay Culkin? Macaulay Culkin said in an interview that Michael Jackson never did anything inappropriate with him or even around him. Think about that shit. You know, I'm not a pedophile. But if I was, Macaulay Culkin's the first kid I'm fucking, I'll tell you that right now. I'd be a goddamn hero. Hey, that guy over there fucked the kid from Home Alone. And you know how hard he is to catch. My mind's telling me no. Okay, R. Kelly is different. I mean, you know, if I'm a betting man, I'm gonna put my money on he probably did that shit. I'm pretty sure he did that shit. You know, it's bad, okay? So a couple years ago, I was doing a show in Detroit, and I'm sitting backstage in my dressing room. A friend of mine comes by, this chick, Dream Hampton. Dream tells me, right before I'm going on stage, she goes, Dave, I'm working on a documentary about R. Kelly. Would you like to be in it? And I was like, nah, bitch, I'm cool. I went on stage, I just forgot about the shit. And then 2 years later, the documentary comes out, Surviving R. Kelly. And when it comes out, Dream's promoting the shit, and she keeps bringing me up. She said, I asked Dave Chappelle to be in my documentary, and he said it was too hot for TV. Bitch, I did not say that. It does not even sound like how I talk. Oh, that's too hot for TV? I would never say that shit. But I'm gonna tell you guys why I wasn't in the documentary. There's a very simple reason, and I cannot stress this point enough. The only reason that I didn't do it was because, and it's very important, I don't know this nigga at all. I don't know anything. I don't know anything that they don't tell me about. I don't hang out with this nigga, nothing. So what the fuck do I gotta be in the documentary for? This guy, R. Kelly, got another sex tape out now. Can you believe that shit? This guy makes more sex tapes than he does music. He's like the DJ Khaled of sex tapes. Another one. Like, damn, nigga. It's a lot of tapes. The new one's so bad that they didn't even show it. I've never seen anything like this. The prosecutor in Chicago came out in a press conference and read to the media a transcript of a sex tape. Have you ever heard of such thing? This nigga read the sex tape. And it was so bad that R. Kelly sounded guilty in the transcripts. It's fucking amazing. 16 times the girl's age was mentioned. Isn't that crazy? This motherfucker is an idiot. He was fucking her like, yeah, this is the best 14-year-old pussy I've ever had in my life. And she was like, you like this 14-year-old pussy? He's like, oh yeah, I love this 14. I'm like, man, you need to shut the fuck up. You gotta give your lawyer something to work with. You're supposed to be on the tape like, this is the best 36-year-old pussy I've ever had in my life. And then your lawyer gonna be like, Your Honor, clearly my client thought that this woman was 36, as he mentioned some 16 times in the tape. They gonna know you lying though, you know what I mean? Everybody knows no such thing as good 36-year-old pussy. Doesn't matter what I say. And if you at home watching this shit on Netflix, remember, bitch, you clicked on my face. Celebrity hunting season. Doesn't matter what I say, they're gonna get everybody eventually. Like, look, I don't think I did anything wrong, but we'll see. They even got poor Kevin Hart. Can you imagine such a thing? Kevin Hart, let me tell you something. It was Kevin Hart's dream to host the Oscars. That's what he told me. And I remember when he told me, because I was thinking to myself, well, that's an awfully strange dream for an African American. Kind of nigga dreams of hosting the Oscars. Kevin did, that's who. And he did it. Against all the odds, Kevin became the most famous comedian this world has ever seen, and he got the job that only one black man before him had had. He was gonna host the 80th Oscars. And I don't know what you know about Kevin, but I know Kevin Hart is damn near perfect. As close to perfect as anybody I've ever seen. In fact, Kevin is precisely 4 tweets shy of being perfect. 10 years ago, Kevin had made some very homophobic comments. And I'm not gonna repeat what he said, because this is Atlanta. You know what I mean. I'm sure there's a lot of gay men here tonight with their wives. Far be it from me to offend anybody. All right, I'll tell you what he said. But just remember, these were not my words. These were Kevin's words. And it was a long time ago. And I'm paraphrasing because I'm not good at telling other people's jokes. Okay, Kevin said that if his little son was demonstrating or exhibiting homosexual behavior around the house, that he'd chastise him. He'd say, hey, that's gay. And then he said he would smash a dollhouse over that child's head. Ooh, the gay community was furious. And I don't blame them. I got a lot of gay friends. And all of them, 100% of them, all have told me fucking horror stories about the shit they had to go through just to be themselves. Crazy, crazy stories. And in all those stories, I gotta say, not one of them has ever mentioned anything like their father smashing a fucking dollhouse over their head. Because clearly Kevin was joking. Think about it. You would have to buy this nigga a dollhouse to break it over his head in the first place. Does that sound right? Is anybody gonna do that? The gay community was upset, and then they put so much pressure on the Academy of Motion Pictures and Sciences that they went to Kevin and said, if you don't apologize to that community, then you cannot host these Oscars. And then Kevin said, fuck it, I quit. And then he went on every talk show in America and apologized for 6 weeks. Kevin fucked up. I understand the mistake he made because I've made the same mistake early in my career. This is many years ago, 15 years ago. It's when I was doing Chappelle's show. There's a, thank you. On network television, they have a department that's called Standards and Practices. This is the department that tells you what you can and cannot say on television. And if you're doing your job well, you should never hear from them. But if you're making a Chappelle show, you'll hear from these motherfuckers all the time. And remember, this is 15 years ago. I made a mistake. I didn't even know I had done anything wrong. I had written a sketch that had the word faggot in it. So I had to go to Standards and Practices. They call me up. I don't know why they're calling me, but I like the lady that runs the department. She's usually really fair, and was one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. So she sits me down. We have a nice conversation. She tells me, oh, the sketches are great. I go, oh, fantastic. Well, then why am I here? She said, because, David, there's no way that you can ever say the word faggot on our network. I didn't know I did anything wrong. I didn't try to defend myself. I said, all right, fuck it, I'll take it out. Have a good afternoon. And as I was leaving, it occurred to me, hey, Renee, quick question. It's just a question. Seriously, I want to know, like, why is it that I can say the word nigger with impunity? But I can't say the word faggot. And she said, because, David, you are not gay. I said, well, Renee, I'm not a nigger either. But you see, what I didn't realize at the time and what Kevin had to learn the hard way is we were breaking an unwritten and unspoken rule of show business. And if I say it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset the alphabet people. You know who I mean. Those people that took 20% of the alphabet for themselves. I'd say the letters, but I don't want to conjure their anger. It's too late now. I'm talking about them L's and them B's and them G's and the T's. People be surprised. I have friends, all kinds of letters. Everybody loves me, and I love everybody. I got friends who are L's, I got friends who are B's, and I got friends who are G's. But the T's hate my fucking guts. And I don't blame them. It's not their fault, it's mine. I can't stop telling jokes about these things. I don't want to write they got a real live paparazzi, I see you. What do you think I am? What do you think is a game? Watching out for the media. I'm like Bigfoot, nigga. When people see me, they freak the fuck out. Oh, shit. Even other celebrities get surprised to see me. Oh, shit. Hey, thanks. Come on, you only got 10 minutes. God damn. So, no, it's good. I don't have any material. That stuff's for pussies. Every time I see this backdrop, I think about Kramer fucking up. That's why I don't want to see no camera phones on my ass tonight. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm not wrapped too tight. Like, they putting a lot of that corporate pressure on me. So this might be the night that I snap, and you guys be lucky. It's like having tickets to see Siegfried and Roy the night that tiger bit that motherfucker's throat. He's like, I was there when that Chappelle freaked. I was there. Because that's why we really go to the Tiger show, right? You don't go to see somebody be safe with tigers. You go thinking in the back of your mind, like, this nigga might get bit. I'd like to see that in person for $35 if I could. Never seen somebody get bit by a tiger before. Only $35. That's fucking hilarious. I'll tell you the truth. When I seen Kramer's tape, I learned about myself. You know what I learned? I think I'm only like 20% black and 80% comedian. You know what I mean? And black dudes can relate. You know what I mean, bro? Like, when you saw that shit, he was furious, right? Black dude was like, Kramer, you motherfucker. Like, I was hurt. And the comedian in me was just like, whew, niggas having a bad set. Hang in there, Kramer. Don't let him break you, Kramer. Oh, I wish I was there so bad. Because, you know, in the back of his mind, he was thinking, I'll get him the next show. There won't be a next show, Kramer. Phew. You know what I hate ever since I walked away from that show? Is that people keep trying to give me advice. Because I guess I'm in, like, depressing. You know, you be depressing and people be, like, trying to cheer you up. And then I'm in show business. That's what made me so mad about it. So they'd be saying stupid, hey, Dave, look, I know that was a rough experience, and I can only imagine what you've been through, but, you just got to hang in there, and what you got to do is you just got to keep your chin up. Just keep your chin up, Dave. Word. That's what I was doing. That's what I was doing wrong. My chin was too low. Shut the fuck up. It had nothing to do with my chin, nigga. Fuck, keep your chin up. What kind of shit is this? See niggas walking around show business. Oh, I know. So, this girl I knew sent me a book called The Secret. She was like, listen, Dave, if this is gonna help you, it's called The Secret. I thought this, and I started reading the book, and I read like 5 pages of shit and threw it in the trash. I was fucking, I can't believe they sell this shit. Do you know what this bitch says the secret of life is? She said it was positive imagery. You gotta visualize the things you want to have happen in your life. Like, bitch, that's the secret of life to you? Then kill yourself. It's gotta mean more than that. Positive imagery. The bitch fly to Africa and tell one of them starving children that shit. What's wrong with you? I have not eaten in 5 days. What you need to do is visualize some roast beef and some mashed potatoes and gravy. Oh, please, bitch, you're killing me. Stop talking like that. No. The problem is you have a bad attitude about starving to death. I'm one of those people that's so smart that I'm uncomfortable in this world. And I'm scared to live. I'm not scared to live, but it's scary out here. God damn. I know how flimsy this shit is. I can see through this. I can see the truth. There's an animal inside of each and every one of you. It's not good. Shit is real. Listen, I was looking at the paper the other day. I'm not making this up. There's a serial rapist in Houston. There's nothing funny about serial rape, but what is noteworthy about this particular rapist is that all of his victims have been men. Enjoy your evening. I can't believe you clapped about that. It's a man raping men in Houston. That's the most gangster shit. So far, like 7 men have already come forward in the Houston area and reported this motherfucker, which means he must have raped thousands. That's a tough phone call for us to make. It's not like when you get raped, ladies. There's no society don't give a fuck about male rape. There's no hotline for us. Man get raped, you just gotta get up and walk that shit off. Got raped. Caught me slipping. You gotta take that shit to the grave. Couldn't even tell my wife some shit like that. Come home, all disheveled and shit. Hey, where have you been? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Out fucking another woman. Just go back to sleep, okay? Man, I love Montreal. I do, man. Yeah, man, I was hanging out in the black community today. Both of those guys are great. We got along. I got lost today in Montreal. The police helped me find my way. The police helped me. See, I just got back from Los Angeles. Let me tell you something. LAPD overreact to everything. You ever see them in action? Just, oh my goodness. Stop jaywalking. It's like real racially tense out there. I took 2 white friends of mine to an all-black party in LA. These guys were in shock. They had no idea that black people sometimes call each other nigga as an endearing term. And they saw the brothers at the party like, hey, what up, nigga? Psh, psh, my man. Oh, what's up, nigga? Pat, pat. My white friends, they got all excited. Hey, how you niggers doing? The music stopped. Everyone looked at them. Oh, my goodness. I mean, they got their asses kicked that night. I hated to do it, but you understand. It was like, they embarrassed me in those cases. Me and one of the guys, this is real ironic, we got in like a little Rodney King incident ourselves. Me and this guy, Dave, we were eating dinner at a restaurant. Dave got in an argument over the check with the waiter. Next thing we know, the owner, the manager, all the employees get together and just beat the shit out of him. Kapow! He sued him for $500,000 and won the case because the whole incident was recorded on videotape. Sounds amazing, right? That's why me and my buddy Dave always carry a camcorder with us. Because you never know when a Kodak moment might pop up, you know. We'll be hanging out and be like, all right, Dave, go ahead, I got you. You ready, man? Go ahead, do it. All right, just be ready. Hey! Officer! Kiss my ass. What? Uh-oh. Roll them. All the police problems in the States, man. It makes me wish superheroes existed. Normally, I hate superheroes. Not because they never help out black people. I think they're bad role models for children. You know, just look at them. Look at Wonder Woman. Look at how she dresses. You know, those big-ass red hooker boots. Blue underwear with stars and stuff all over them. They always give women ridiculous weapons. Wonder Woman has a golden lasso that makes you tell the truth. Whew, not that. The hell is that gonna do? She's gonna catch a bad guy. Gotcha. Oh, nice tits. Superheroes never fight crime in black neighborhoods. No, I would love to see Batman in a black neighborhood. I can see him there. He just, Robin. Yes, Batman. Didn't we park the car right here, man? Having such a wonderful time. You know, folks, any of you guys ever do this? I got a little trouble when I was coming into Montreal. I walked to that little x-ray thing at the airport.
and said a joke about having a gun. Don't do that, y'all. Now, I was just trying to be funny. You know, I walked through the thing. He said, boop, boop, boop. He said, I'm sorry, eh, but you have to go back through. I said, oh, no problem. Must have been my pistol. Hey! Hey, I was joking. I mean, he was ready to kill me, man. Pulled his gun out and stick out all that shit. But my buddy Dave had the camera rolling. Peace, everybody. I'm out of here.
It feels good doing stand-up again. I took a year off from stand-up. Not that I don't like stand-up as much as I just don't like microphones. I'm sick of talking to them. I mean, I used to work at Burger King for 6 years. I didn't work the mic, I worked the grill. A guy named Steve used to work the mic, and I thought he was just a pain in my ass. He used to, every time someone orders something, hi, how are you? Could I have a Whopper with cheese? Sure. A Whopper with cheese? You son of a bitch, I'm right behind you. Just turn around and ask me for a Whopper. You know, Canada's nice. This is kind of like a kinder and gentler America, in a way. Even like the police are nicer. I'm not gonna say they're nice, I don't know. But they just smile at least, you know? I've been to jail before, twice, not as a prisoner. One time was from childhood. I was suspended from school 23 times during February. I wasn't bad though, I was just mischievous. I got hold of all my teachers' home phone numbers. At the time, I thought it was funny. I was calling in death threats. I know that's bad, man. You know, my English teacher, Mr. Johnson, I called him up. He was all nice on the phone.
Hello? Johnson residence. Is this Mr. Johnson? Yes, it is. And who might this be? You're a dead man, Johnson. Who is this? Shut up, punk! You're gonna die. Unless you change Dave Chappelle's grades.
I don't know how he caught me. After that, they put me in a program called Scared Straight. Have you ever heard of this? This is where they put bad kids like me in prison. And the prisoners yell at us, they tell us scary stories. You know, they try to scare us into being good. And the other kids were scared. But I was not scared. I was just heckling the guy. Hey, shut up, you convict. Like, I'm gonna take advice from you. You look like a person that made all the right choices in life. Wrap this up. I gotta be out of here by 3. What time you leaving? The other time I went to jail was had nothing to do with me. Really, I was just bailing a friend of mine out of jail, which is probably no big deal to you. But if you're a black dude, you know you got to walk right into the belly of the beast. You don't want to. A black dude wants to go to jail. I was scared. I had to look non-threatening. Hey, how are you? I'm here to bail out a friend of mine. Oh, okay.
There's a trans woman sitting in the audience. This is a true story. This was like a few weeks ago. I did 6 shows that weekend. This trans woman came to 4 of them. Calls herself Daphne. Man, this chick Daphne was in there cracking the fuck up at everything I said about everybody. It was amazing. She was laughing, and it was fun to watch her laugh. You could tell she was letting go of something that was heavy, and she'd throw her head back, and she'd smile with all her teeth. She was having a great time. And the more fun she had, I felt bad, because I knew I had some trans jokes to unload. And I thought to myself, maybe I shouldn't say these jokes because I don't want to like fuck her evening up. She's having so much fun. But then I thought to myself, well, if I can't say it in front of her, should I say this shit at all? So I let her rip. To my surprise, Daphne laughed harder at the trans jokes than anybody in the room. In fact, everybody in the room would look at her to make sure it was okay. And I got off stage, I was in the dressing room, I was like, man, this is a fucking weird show. I'm sitting in the dressing room by myself just trying to figure out, like, what the fuck just happened out there? Like, why is it that this one woman can't take any of these jokes and Daphne can take all of these jokes? So weird. And then I realized, Daphne used to be a man. So now I go out of the dressing room and like you can see like all the staff was there like cleaning the club up, the audience had gone, and sitting at the bar by herself was Daphne. And she's like, hey, Dave, come join me for a drink. And I don't want her to think that I'm transphobic or nothing, so I'm like, fuck, I guess I could have at least a drink. And we get some tequila and we're sitting there. And she was fucking cool. Turns out that Daphne, she wants to be a comedian. She was asking me for advice, and I told her advice and all that shit. And then she says to me, she says, boy, you sure do get a bad rap for your trans jokes. I said, Daphne, thank you, but you don't have to say that. I hope I didn't offend you. She goes, no. She said, in fact, I read about you in the New York Times. I said, you did? She said, yeah. She said, I thought it was interesting that they blamed you for R. Kelly. They said you normalized him for telling jokes about him. I go, yeah, they said that. She goes, I wonder why they never said that you normalized transgenders by telling jokes about us. And I'd never thought about that. It never occurred to me. And we started making out. And then like, I reached up just to see what it felt like. I was like, what? And it felt like pussy, did it? It was just like.
Now, I was hanging out with a friend of mine. He's a white guy, you know. We were just hanging out. And we were lost in the city, you know, we were smoking a joint. Now, I don't know if it's a coincidence that we were lost and high and shit, but. My white buddy, he was smoking a joint.
Dave, it's the goddamn cops. I'm gonna ask him for directions.
I said, Chip, no! Chip, don't do it! It was too late. He was walking over there, this man was high as shit.
Excuse me, sir.
Touching him and shit.
Excuse me. Need some information.
Start confessing things you shouldn't confess.
I'm a little high. All I want to know, which way is 3rd Street?
The cop was like, hey, take it easy. You're on 3rd Street. You better be careful. Go ahead, move it. Move it. And that's all that happened. That's the end of the story. Now, I know that's not amazing to some of you, but you ask one of these black fellas, that shit is fucking incredible, isn't it? I'm saying a black man would never dream of talking to the police high. That's a waste of weed. Serious. I mean, I'd be scared to talk to the police when I'm sleepy. They fuck around, get the wrong idea and shit.
Oh my God. That nigger was on PCP, Johnson.
I had to use necessary force.
You saw him. No paperwork. Just sprinkle some crack on him. Let's get out of here.
That's how it is. But at the time, I didn't think there was anything racial about it. I was just like, man, Chip, you got fucking lucky. You better be careful. But then another time, me and Chip are driving. Now, I'm not driving. Chip is driving, and he's driving a little crazy. He's been drinking. Now, I don't like to let my friends drive drunk, but, you know, I was smoking a joint. I couldn't really say shit to the guy. And we get at a red light. We stop at a red light, and a car pulls up next to us, and I'll never forget it. Chippy looks at me, he's all drunk, and she's like,
Dave, I'm gonna race him.
I knew it was a bad idea, but I was high. I tried to explain to him it was a bad idea, but all that came out was, well, nigga, sometimes you gotta race, I don't know. Man, that light turned green and Chip took off, zigzagging and shit so no one could pass me. The other car didn't even know he was racing. Then the police seen us and pulled us over. Now you understand, I'm scared as shit.
I mean, come on, the car smells like weed. I've been speeding, this man is fucking drunk. I was scared. Chip was not scared at all. It was weird, he didn't even turn his radio down. Isn't that weird a little bit? I mean, if you get pulled over, wouldn't you turn your radio down? Nobody want to get their ass beat to a soundtrack and shit. You know what I'm saying? Chip had the music blasting. We're not gonna take it.
He looked at me and said, Dave, just relax. Close your butt cheeks. Just relax. Let me do the talking.
You wanna know what he said? This is almost exactly what he said. I couldn't believe it. He says, oh.
Sorry, officer, I didn't know I couldn't do that.
I was fucking shocked. The cop said, well, now you know. Just get out of here. Just get the fuck out of here.
Chip said, okay, I will, sir. Thank you. What? What's wrong with you, Dave?
I didn't know I couldn't do that.
He said, that was good, wasn't it? Because I did know I couldn't do that.
Really, you know who I'm gonna vote for next time if things keep going the way it's going is that gay dude. No, Mike Pence. Now, this is the same club, the Punchline. This is 15 years ago, and I had just gotten back from my infamous South Africa trip. And I came to the Punchline just to cheer myself up. It's a safe place where I could tell some jokes. And I find out that this comedian I know, Chris Tucker, who's in all those Rush Hour movies, I find out that Chris is in San Francisco too, at some charity event. So I call him, I'm like, yo, I just saw you at some charity event. I said, I'm doing a show at the Punchline. Why don't you come by the club after your event? He's like, cool, Dave. I thought you was dead, nigga. I'll come by. He says, is it okay if I bring some friends? Because, you know, I'm with a lot of people. I go, man, you Chris Tucker. You can bring whoever the fuck you want. And then I show up to the club late that night. I walk into the dressing room, and sitting in the dressing room is Gavin Newsom, who at the time was the mayor of San Francisco, but now he's the governor of California. And sitting next to him was Kamala Harris, who at the time was the DA of San Francisco. Now she's the senator from California that's front-running on the Democratic ticket. And sitting next to her was Al Gore. Fucking weird. And sitting next to Al Gore was the guys from Google, Sergey, and I don't know how to say these. All right. And it was Chris Tucker and Ben Jealous, who at the time was the president of the NAACP, who was all just at this big charity dinner, and Paul Mooney was drinking scotch. And we all was just in there. You know, at first I was a little uncomfortable when we started talking, and we all got along really well. At some point, Kamala Harris she says to me, she goes, you know, a friend of mine is announcing his candidacy for president tomorrow. I went to college with him. I'm like, what? I go, Barack Obama? She goes, you've heard of him? I'm like, yo, I just read about this dude. And she goes, yo, yeah, blah, 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 we're talking. She goes, you know what? She says, let's call him on the phone. I said, what the fuck? And she picks the phone up and she dials and she's listening like this. And she goes, this is voicemail. And she gives me the phone. She goes, leave him a message. You know, I didn't know what to say. I just said what you say to any black dude that's running for president. You know, stay low, running a zigzag pattern, this kind of shit. And then the last thing I say is, you know what? I said, sir, I really do believe you can do this. Like, man, I'm wishing you luck. Now, next day I wake up and go for coffee at a place called the Embarcadero. It's like an eatery by the sea in San Francisco. And I'm walking to the coffee shop and there's a police line and I can't cross the tape. But then I figure, fuck it, I'm Dave Chappelle, so I go into the thing like this. And the police yoke me. These motherfuckers like tackle me immediately. And I see over the police's shoulder Gavin Newsom. I couldn't remember his name, but I remember the night before I had kept teasing him and saying he looked like Christian Bale, the guy from the Batman movies. So I see him and I can't remember the name, so I'm just like, Batman, help! And he stops, he's like, Dave? And then the police see that the mayor knows me, so they're all like, oh, sorry about that. And he's like, hey, back up everybody, and he just picks me up. He's like, I'm really sorry about that. I'm like, I'm fine, don't worry about it. And he's like, listen, I'm here with Prince, would you like to meet him? I'm like, I know Prince, that's my nigga. And we go around the corner, and it was Prince Charles, the Prince of England. I didn't know the protocol of meeting royalty. You're not supposed to touch him. I dapped him up like a nigga. My nigga. Ah! Just hugging him and shit like this, dapping him up. Like this. And that nigga was cool too. I was like, that's really fucking weird. And then I was just out there in the upside down, not having no TV show, trying to figure life out. And the election was going on in the background. And this guy, Barack Obama, was picking up steam. This motherfucker was killing it. And I had a chance to go to the last debate on the Democratic ticket, and I went. It's me and Chris Tucker sitting in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's the last three candidates. It was Barack Obama, John Edwards, and Hillary Clinton. Now, Obama's a lot taller than Edwards and Clinton, and he had the center podium. And at one point, they're all on stage, and they start fussing, and Obama goes, look, none of us are perfect, like this. And his hands was like this, and there was light shining behind his head, and the other two candidates was looking up at the nigga, and I was sitting in the audience like, this nigga looks like Jesus. And I realized in that moment that I was looking at the next president of the United States. I was certain of it. I couldn't explain it, but I knew what I was seeing. And I got really excited. And I'm not that kind of guy. I said, I gotta meet this motherfucker. So I stayed. They were all on stage doing interviews, and I just waited. I was waiting and waiting, and then John Edwards was done with his interviews first, because everybody knew he wasn't going to win. And I see John Edwards, and I said, hey, Senator Edwards, I just wanted to say hi, and that motherfucker looked at me like, I'm like, fuck you, nigga, you gonna lose anyway. And then he left, and then Hillary Clinton just walked by me in one of them Steve Harvey suits. But Obama was taking forever. Everybody wanted to talk to him. When I knew the media saw exactly what I saw, there was no question about it. That was the guy. I waited and I waited, and finally, it must have been over an hour and a half, he finishes his last interview. He's like, well, thank you very much. Good talking to you. And he turns around and we make eye contact. He sees me. And when he sees me, he looks over, he goes, Dave Chappelle. And Obama did me the same way I did Prince Charles. He dapped me up, and he like bro hugged me, and he pulled me in, and I'll never forget this. He said in my ear, I got your message. Thank you very much, New York City. Good night.
You gotta make life interesting like that, because the shit is flimsy. Life is flimsy. You think you're gonna live forever, you ain't not gonna live forever. It's dangerous out here. We know what's going on. I travel now, you know. I used to think D.C. had the roughest ghettos in the country. Nah, nigga, I have seen some shit now. Oh, there's some rough areas outside of D.C. Yeah, everybody should go to the ghetto. I was taken to the ghetto one time. That's the worst. When you get taken and you're not expecting to go. You know, usually you want to know when you're going to the ghetto, like, I'm going to see some wild shit. I got to prepare myself. I'm going to see something crazy. When you're taken, it's different. I had a limousine driver. It was after a show. It was late at night. It was like 3 in the morning. I had a limousine driver. He was a nice guy talking to me and shit. Oh, hey, where you from, dog? D.C.? Word? That's a rough city, man. And his cell phone started ringing. Hold on 1 second. Hello? Oh, what's up, nigga? What? What the fuck? Slow down. What? What the fuck? No! 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 Fuck that, nigga. Fuck it. I'm on my way. Hey. I gotta make a stop real quick. At 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't know he was taking me to the ghetto at first. I started looking out the window. I was like, what the fuck? Gun store, liquor store, gun store. Where the fuck are you taking me? This don't look good. He didn't say shit. He just pulled up in front of an old rickety building that looked like a project. Now, I'd never been there before. I'm not sure if it was a project, but it certainly had all the familiar symptoms of a project. A fucking crackhead ran this way. And then another one jumped out of a tree and shit. The driver said, I'll be right back. And left me. Took the keys with him and just left me. At 3 o'clock in the morning, in front of a project, in a fucking limousine. This was not good. I was like, man, I gotta look around and see if I can see some landmarks and figure out where I'm at. Might have to escape on foot. Now, this is when I knew I was in a bad neighborhood. You only see this in the worst neighborhoods. Remember, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I look out the window. It was a fucking baby standing on a corner. Look at this. And the baby didn't even look scared. He was just standing there. I mean, it made me sad. It made me sad, really. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to help the baby. I was like, I don't trust you either. I'm sorry. Click. Click. The old baby on the corner trick, eh? You're not going to fall for that shit. Where's this limousine driver? You know, I start feeling bad. As time goes by, I start feeling worse. Like, man, what is wrong with me? What the hell is wrong? I'm scared of a baby. And this baby could be in trouble. He might need my help. I got to do something. But I wasn't going to get out the car. I'm serious, man. I just cracked the window a little bit. There's an old limousine. I can roll it down. Hey, baby. Baby, go home, man. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. What the fuck are you doing up? The baby said, I'm selling weed, nigga. I said, oh, shit. I wasn't expecting that. I'm sorry, I had to buy 2 bags from him to calm my nerves. Let me get two corners. Got back in the car and rolled me a joint, man. So, that shit was scary, man. Every once in a while, like a crackhead would come up to the car and look in the window. It was like Jurassic Park and shit. He'd be looking on the car. Hey, get out of here, cracky. That baby was still standing there, man. Then I started feeling bad again. Yeah, weed make you feel guilty sometimes. You know. Man, what is wrong with me, man? I have just bought weed from an infant. I can't condone this kind of behavior. What am I thinking? I can't let the fear ruin my morals. Gotta do something. Hey, baby. Stop selling weed, all right? You got your whole life ahead of you. He said, fuck you, nigga. I got kids to feed. I said, God damn. Sam. And just at that very moment, one of the crackheads was running across the street and got hit by a car. I know it was a hit and run. The police did it.